Hello and welcome to my channel The Conceptual Codon. Here we discuss about various medical concepts. Today in episode 4 of Concepts of Thyroid, we will discuss how thyroid hormones are actually produced in our body and their transport. So obviously thyroid gland takes up the responsibility for synthesis, storage and secretion of thyroid hormones. Two principal thyroid hormones are thyroxine or T4 and triiodothyronine or T3. Everyone knows that, right? But some of you may not know that another hormone RT3 comprises of 1% of thyroid output. Moreover, the parafollicular cells produce calcitonin. So, the four hormones include T3, T4, RT3 and calcitonin. This diagram is a zoomed view of one thyroid follicular cell with its basolateral membrane and apical membrane, and this is the follicular colloid part. Look, the main concept is iodination of the tyrosine molecule that leads to the synthesis of thyroid hormones. Inorganic iodine, that is I-, is rapidly absorbed in the gastrointestinal tract and circulates in the form of iodide until it is either trapped by the thyroid or salivary glands or excreted by the urinary tract. Thyroid needs iodine for hormone synthesis, but thyroid gland contains about 95% of the total iodine content of the body. So thyroid actually has to extract iodine from the plasma against a 25-fold concentration gradient, as the thyroid gland contains most of the iodine. And this is done via the sodium iodine symporter or NIS. Sodium iodine symporter requires a sodium gradient across the basolateral membrane, and the transport of two sodium ions allows the transport of one iodide atom. Here the clinically relevant point is that sodium iodine symporter also transports TCO4- ion, which is used in thyroid scintigraphy, and by the same mechanism can block the thyroid iodide uptake. Now, thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH, which is produced by the anterior pituitary, induces both NIS expression and the retention of NIS in the basolateral membrane, where it can perform the sustained iodide uptake. So, thyroid stimulating hormone is responsible for the NIS function. But hold on, is this the only source of iodide in thyroid? Certainly not. Intrafollicular cell iodide is also generated by the action of an enzyme. The name of the enzyme is iodotyrosine dehalogenase 1 isoenzyme. This iodotyrosine dehalogenase 1 isoenzyme or DHAL1 enzyme deiodinates the monoiodotyrosine and diiodotyrosine. This MIT and DIT are the molecules which lead to thyroid hormone formation. So ultimately from blood via NIS and by the intrafollicular cell iodide, both contribute to the iodide in the thyroid follicular cell. Ultimately, the iodide is in the thyroid follicular cell. Now it needs get into the follicular colloid part. We need pendrin to help in this. It is a glycoprotein expressed on the apical border of the thyroid follicular cell, where it facilitates the transfer of iodide into the follicular colloid. After pendrin does its job, iodide is oxidized by thyroid peroxidase, that is TPO, with the help of hydrogen peroxide and facilitates the iodination of tyrosine to monoiodotyrosine and diiodotyrosine, that is MIT and DIT. If we correlate with pharmacology, antithyroid drugs like propylthiouracil, methimazole, carbimazole inhibit the function of thyroid peroxidase, thus inhibits the thyroid hormone synthesis. Thyroid peroxidase requires hydrogen peroxide. Now that is generated by thyroid oxidase 2, THOX2, and this step is inhibited by iodide excess. So iodide excess actually prevents the thyroid hormone production. Now let's get back into the track. After formation of MIT and DIT, coupling of two molecules of DIT forms T4 and one molecule of MIT and one molecule of DIT couples to form T3 or triiodothyronine. Now for advanced knowledge, there are two theories of how this coupling reaction occurs. One holds that the coupling occurs with both DIT molecules attached to thyroglobulin. That is called intramolecular coupling. The other one holds that the DIT that forms the outer ring is first detached from thyroglobulin and then the coupling occurs. It is called intermolecular coupling. After all the matching ups are done, T4 and T3 are stored in the colloid as part of the thyroglobulin molecule. Now the thyroid hormones have been synthesized, but they will have to come out of the thyroid gland to act. First of all, thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH stimulates the retrieval of thyroglobulin from the colloid by micropinocytosis to form phagolysosomes. Here, proteases free T4 and T3, DIT and MIT within the phagolysosome. T4 and T3 are then transported from the phagolysosome across the basolateral membrane and into the circulation. Now, interestingly, this action is inhibited by large amounts of iodine that can be used therapeutically in the treatment of patients with hyperthyroidism caused by Graves' disease. Then, as mentioned in the earlier part of the discussion, MIT and DIT are ultimately deiodinated by DHAL1 enzyme, and this iodine return to the follicular lumen and contribute to the source of iodine along with the iodine from blood. Although T3 is released from the thyroid, 75% of the T3 in the body is derived from peripheral 5' deiodination of one of the outer ring iodine atoms in T4. This step is also inhibited by propylthiouracil. So propylthiouracil inhibits the 5' deiodination also. The presence of these deiodinases in various cell types provides for local regulation of thyroid hormone effect. Out of the 3 deiodinases, D1 is present in high concentrations in the liver, kidneys, thyroid and pituitary. It appears primarily to be responsible for maintaining the formation of T3 from T4 in the periphery. Okay, let's come to the transport of thyroid hormone. As T3 and T4 are poorly water soluble and circulate bound to plasma proteins like thyroxine binding globulin or TBG, T4 binding prealbumin or transthyretin and albumin. From the thyroxine binding proteins, T4 and T3 enter the body cells, where they exert their metabolic actions, which are predominantly calorigenic. The metabolic actions and biochemical mechanism of action of thyroid hormones will be discussed in subsequent videos. Both T3 and T4 are metabolized by kidney and liver tissues to their pyruvic acid and acetic acid derivatives and eventually to iodide. These metabolites are then concentrated and conjugated in the liver to glucuronic acid. Finally, they are excreted with the bile, hydrolyzed in the small bowel and reabsorbed. That concludes the entire synthesis and transport of thyroid hormones. You can find the notes of this video in our Facebook page. Follow us there. If you found the video helpful, do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more conceptual videos like this.